Yeah. Okay. All right, Brian, I'm going to continue cooking. I'll leave it over to your very capable hands. And Diggy, please enjoy. Thank you for making time. Really appreciate you coming on.
Easy. Thank you.
Yeah, this will be recorded so we can have everybody else listen who's not here or who might be asleep. It's pretty early. So, good morning, everyone. This is Brian. I'm here with Diggy, and we're on the Mine More Spaces this morning. We're going to have Diggy Monk here talk about OR and the OR ecosystem. So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening for everybody. Diggy, please tell me about yourself. I read a little bit about your bio, said that you discovered OR fairly early because you've been involved in the Solana ecosystem. We normally start out kind of just getting a background on our speakers. So how'd you get involved in crypto, and then how did you mosey on over to OR?
Yeah, I started in like 2021, sort of probably middle of the year. I think things were sort of the NFTs were kicking off. I just stumbled across it, like I was on Twitter and just stumbled across some stuff. And then got into Cardano NFTs of all things. I didn't really know what I was doing, so I was just sort of playing around. And then made bit of change on that, and I was like, oh, this is all right. It's pretty fun. And then did a bit of perp trading, and one like I ended up going big one night, and like I woke up in the morning with like $8 grand in my pocket, and I was like, oh, this is so easy. And
So
then
easy.
proceeded to slowly, oh yeah, so easy. And then proceeded just to like lose it all, over the next like week. So it's pretty, the reality of crypto.
Yeah, that's the first
especially
space.
when you're using leverage. So I learned pretty early, like, there's ups and downs. But yeah, and then I just sort of fell into Solana again, just on X. And it was right when the SMB Gen 2s were like they'd probably been minted like maybe a few days before I sort of noticed, and picked one up, and I was like, holy shit, like the price was just going like absolutely bonkers. Cause I think they just opened their marketplace, because they had their own marketplace, which is kind of cool. And I was like, this is amazing. I don't know, NFTs were pretty, I like the idea of like, art and on-chain art, just having that sort of ownership of it that you could track
prove
back.
the provenance.
Yeah, so it was, and then I just got into like the SMB community and pretty involved with them in the beginning with Monkey DAO, and then yeah, man, just Solana was cool. It was like all these mints going off, and all these communities popping up, and yeah, so it wasn't long after that. I think the original OR sort of launched. I'm not exactly sure when it did, but that like one of the guys that was in Monkey DAO was actually involved pretty early on with OR, and so I'd always see his posts about it, and that's sort of where I first came across it. And then of course it like pumped pretty hard and then came crashing down. So, and it was quite technical. Like I sort of looked into it and I didn't quite know how to mine, so I just was sort of watching from the sideline, but always sort of keeping an eye on things just to see where it was going. And I liked like the idea, a store of value on Solana just really intrigued me. So that yeah, I just kept watching it. And then probably I think I just got sort of lucky. Like I went into the Discord and I was just sort of floating around, just watching it, see what was going on. Then there were all these discussions about like, the launch of, I guess it must have been V3. And price was down, man. It was like, I think it was like $11 or something. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna buy some, because like it's so cheap and it's got like
worth the
huge
risk.
upside. So yeah, I just bought a bag and then just sat there, and I had it on my ledger, and I fucking went on holiday, man, and it pumped to like what, 700, and I couldn't do anything. I just had to sit and watch it.
Because you left your ledger at home.
I left my ledger at home.
Oh
Yeah,
my
I was
gosh,
like,
that's
I was
happened
on
to
an
me too.
international holiday, so I wasn't even close to
Wonderful.
it. I was like tempted to call my friend, but I was like, It'll come back. It'll come back.
Yeah, it will. And that's a good, that's a good intro. You found it on X. You found it or by word of mouth from your buddies. You saw some rumblings about it early. I didn't get that chance. I didn't see or really until it hit the second run, about $100 a token. So, but one thing you said, you kind of stayed away initially because or was a little confusing. So now that you know what you know, how would you explain or to someone else that you want to get involved in mining? How would you explain to them in the easiest terms, like what or is and how you would onboard them?
I mean, it's it's a 5x5 grid, and it's essentially just like, I mean, the way I started was just picking all the numbers, and that way, you're sort of guaranteed to win something, at least get some of your money back. It's like it's, I don't know if I call it gambling, but it is like, the way I see it, it's just an investment, right? Like, yeah, I'm giving some to the protocol, but it's going to other miners. It's going to buy back, or off the market. So it's sort of like it's all sort of being recycled, and it feels very like a closed loop. So there's not like a lot of, there's a lot of talk about value leak. So doesn't feel like there's a lot of value leak, and it feels like I just feel like there's a huge upside. But I guess it's a really easy way of mining. It's just like you don't need hardware. Anybody with a phone, anybody with a laptop can do it. Like it's pretty simple once you get the hang of it. The ore supply site is pretty easy to understand. So yeah, give it a go. Just hop on there and have it play. Like I think a lot of people say, start just play around with a little bit. You can play with such a little amount that you really aren't even losing anything. You can play with like a couple of dollars. So
yeah, that's true. That's a good. Just get people involved. I think Mad Hatter kind of disagrees with me here. He's argued with me or discussed it with me over the podcast. I think or can be many things to many people, right? For the gambling type, it can be a lottery. Get your or, get your mother lode, get your soon to be the El Dorado. But then to the long-term investor, it can be the mines. You're mining the full grid, you're getting unrefined ore, you're getting 80% APY on holding. This is a long-term play on the Solana ecosystem, right? So I think it's a good approach because we can go to anybody that like if I go to my workplace and talk to my bros who used to do crypto meme coins, I think I could pitch them or as, hey, look, get involved in mine more. We'll set you up and just mine the mother lode, hit the big wins, and they'll be more excited for that than the long term because these guys are short term. But then my crypto bros, I know a lot here are here for the long term. I've been in this 2019. So then for me and those kind of audience, this is a long term mining protocol, and we're going to mine as much ore as we can. And we're going to reap the benefits down the road because we're going to be 80% APY on that, or roughly 60 to 8% depending on the market conditions, and just long term. So again, right, we don't want to make it a gambling thing where everybody associates us with just pure gambling. We're mining store value, but we can pitch it to the people that were in our ecosystem to kind of tailor what appeals to them. So my personal ecosystem, I should say, I want ore to be the store of value narrative, just like Hard Hat envisions. But again, to the people that want to gamble, we're there. So I think it's one of the harder things that we're trying to right now get past all the other products out there that are making noise, right? We don't have the foundation yet. We don't have, a super strong X presence. We've got a strong product. HHC wants to kind of delever himself from the marketing more towards the development. So we have some growth to do for sure. Where do you see us in this next year? Do you think the foundation will really kick off that growth? Have you looked into the foundation or any of the comments on the Discord?
Yeah. I've followed those conversations. To me, like, yeah, I mean, I think it's important part of the entire makeup of what ore is. Will it be the thing that ignites the ore market? I'm not sure. I think it's just a matter of, man, it's like, if there's a bull run, then everything's just going to run. And if you have everything lined up, you know, if you have the foundation set, if there's a marketing team, if there's, you know, if you have all your ducks in a row at that point, when the bull run comes and, you know, we start to see some movement, some serious movement upwards, then I think, you know, ore is just going to absolutely rip. And I think the thing about it is, like, the more people you bring in, yes, you're going to lose some people like along the way. That's just natural. Like, that just happens, right? Like, attrition just happens. But like, you're still going to have more than what you started with before. So it's like, as long as you're sort of like growing your base, I think that's like long term, that's what you want, right? Like, you just want to see consistently people coming in, holding, you know, mining, you know, when they can. And for me, it's like I like slots, right? I like playing. I like going to the casino. I like playing slots. I'm, you know, a bit of a degen, whatever. But like, when I play, I'm like, I play all 25. I don't like try to like hit it too big. Occasionally, you know, I'll play some, maybe not all 25, but mostly that's what I do. So for me, it's like owning. It's like a slot machine, but like, everybody gets to own it. So it's not like the house is taking it. It's like it's being redistributed to all the players, which is actually pretty cool concept. Like, usually you go in, you know, you play the slots, you lose your money, and it just goes to the house, right? Like, it doesn't, you don't get anything back unless you win big, you know. But with this, it's like the chances are a lot higher. Like, I'd say, you know, 1 in 625 to every time the mother load comes, which is like pretty good, you know. Like, so, and you can sort of, you know, you play the averages, you hop in there, you see it sitting at 150, 160, 170 mother load, you know, like, you know, chances are it's probably going to hit. So if you're not like, you know, and again, it depends on sort of your bankroll, right? Like, if you got a lot of soul to play with, then go nuts, you know, like. But even for the smaller fish, like, you can jump in there when things are seeming like they might pop, and just like slowly deploy, and, you know, you might get lucky, you know, you win a few ore, you know. So
Yeah. I just onboarded a guy yesterday. His first few rounds, guess what? He was the one lucky miner to get a full ore. I couldn't believe it. He's the first one I've ever seen that happen to within his first day, and made me a little jelly, not gonna lie. But you know, maybe that's what he needed. That's what he needed to get him hooked and keep him engaged for the long term, right? Just get in there and be lucky and get that one ore.
yeah,
So good on him. I don't know what strategy he used. Maybe he did the whole grid. Maybe he did just, you know, lucky number 17, right? So if that's what he did, then great. He might be hooked. You know, it's that easy, bro. One thing I think we're missing there is some good onboarding tools, right? So I'm actually working on a little script to see if I can make kind of a little tutorial with a video for OR. So I think onboarding, like you said, it can be a little confusing. But to simplify it enough, you know, we can go to mine more. I think that's a little more intimidating because there's some stuff to set up, but it's not hard. So I think anybody that's advanced from the get-go can go to mine more and start setting up. But for most people, for most of the people that I would see at work, for example, that I want to who've been formerly crypto bull run degens, you know, the type they invest in Doge and think it's going to make them a millionaire. I think I would pitch them the or.supply page and get them going with a very basic mining strategy, or maybe the full grid, you know, see what they enjoy. But I think, yeah, we need some more tools that help onboard. I think we would benefit from a tooltip with a video that shows how to mine ore from the very first launch page. That would be great. Any thoughts on that? Do you think we should do more education as a community? Are we lacking education, or do you think we have enough?
Yeah, look, that, you know, it's never going to hurt to have those sort of tutorials. I think something like the spaces, but actually, like, I think you can do videos on X, right? So having people like come up, like, you know, you bring me on, hey man, I got a few soul to throw around. You know, we could be talking, we could be, you know, having the same conversation, and I could be like actually mining while we're having the conversation, and then just showing people like visually what it looks like. I think maybe that'd be like an idea you could do. That's sort of like a YouTube thing, but if you wanted to bring it over to X as well, you can host those things like across a number of different platforms, all from one, yeah, like a centralized streaming service. So it's
Yeah, we actually
that's an
do that
idea.
on the miner side chat, but I think since you're in Australia, you're probably asleep for a lot of these. But
Yeah, I always
yeah,
miss out on all the good stuff.
yeah, no big deal. We're a very diverse, broad landscape of miners. We're multi-continent, so getting the time slots there is hard. But yeah, there is an X Spaces that we record that has some of that, but there's a bit of technical issues with X, and it's a little fidgety, and there's extra layers, and you have to run multiple things. But yeah, we could. I think even just a space where there's no video, getting the community on there would probably be a good idea at some point too, because Discord's good, but X is the loudest platform in the space, and having an open miner side chat might be a good deal. But yeah, we do need some education. We do need visuals, and I think Spaces is a good idea. I'll pitch that with Starship Front. Maybe we can have an X exclusive episode of the Miner Side Chat one day. Complement this, because this is a very good setup here. When MindMore runs these with me as the host and our special guest of the week, we've had some really great conversations, and being able to bring people up in from the audience is also great. So we'll definitely take that into consideration and see if we can move over there. But yeah, do you have any big? Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, there's all these great third party apps that sort of like sit over top of ore supply, like MindMore. So just being able to like show people that as well, like sort of explore the ecosystem, because I don't think people really understand that there's actually quite a bit being built on top of it, and that there's opportunities for other people to jump in there and and build on top of it. So I think there's definitely room for growth. That's for sure.
Yeah, when I'm on the ecosystem page on the Discord, I mean, we've got so much products here: Smelted, MyOr, MindMore, Vobel, Ore Claims and Telegram Alerts, Ormatic, Dopamine, and Impify. I'm not familiar with that one. I'll have to look at that one as well. There's a lot of stuff here that I haven't fully explored. And you're right, people don't know how big we're growing. And I think part of that is the Solana community is so focused. I don't remember. There's a lot of integrations in Ethereum DeFi, right? But when you integrate it, then you also have to integrate it intra-chain. You have to go through your L2s. You have to have you have to launch something. It's got to launch on Arbitrum. It's got to launch on Polygon. It's got to launch on mainnet. It's got to keep going to this spider web of layer 2s and different bridges. I think Ethereum is a hot mess. And I know right now they've got a couple memes that are running, but Ethereum is not where I want to introduce people to crypto. It's Solana. And then, or of course, as what I want them to mine is what I want the industry to become, right? I don't want extractive VC infested products. I want to introduce them stuff that's provably fair, that's organically grown, and all the beautiful things that ore is, right? So I think Ethereum is just a hot mess right now, and coming from it as a experienced Ethereum user that was staking. I was not using liquid staking. I was doing full staking. I was doing DeFi. I was in every single layer 2 that you can possibly imagine. I farmed Arbitrum when it launched. There's a lot going on there, but it's not the space to introduce people to crypto. It is the Wild West, and it's a hot mess. Do you think Ore should ever expand beyond Solana? I don't think so. But just to throw this out, there's a conversation topic. Should Ore ever expand outside of the Solana ecosystem? Do you think it has a mechanism or any type of, even just dropping the coins out there, do you think it has any mechanism to spread beyond Solana, or should it?
I mean, I think you never say never, right? You never know what's going to happen, what chain's going to come across. But currently, no, there's no need. Like Solana has everything you need. I don't, it's got security. It's got, a big ecosystem. It's got a lot of builders. I mean, this is honestly, it's where all the action is. Everything that's like,
yeah, I agree.
You just can't do everything that you can do on Solana or on ETH. You just can't. So, yeah, for now, no need, man. Why would you?
Yeah, I would say
fragment things. I think just make it more confusing.
Yeah, and that is true. Fragmented liquidity is a major pain point on Ethereum, right? It's just it's awful situation where you have to have liquidity on each launch. For example, where I used to work, we had to launch on these other subsequent chains, and if we wanted to bring our token there, we had to bridge it over to the chain. So we had the token on 3 separate instances of layer 2s, and then of course the liquidity would fragment. People would arb, the liquidity, of course, but ultimately it was a pain in the butt because you couldn't get in or out of a pool that didn't give you excessive slippage on the least popular layer 2s. You had to be in the most popular layer 2 to get good slippage, to get good prices, and to make sure you didn't get wrecked when you're buying in or out with size. So that brings us to another topic: liquidity on our OR tokens. It seems to be actually about 500,000 right now, so that's pretty good. Now, have you done any investing with liquidity pools? Have you put any OR into liquidity, or are you primarily focused on staking and UOR? Like, how does your strategy play in to get yield out of the OR ecosystem? Is it just mining, or is it something else?
I mean, I've got like half my OR just sitting in unrefined from mining, and then the other half I've taken out, and it was actually by accident, but it's all right. It worked out. So yeah, I liquid staked it. So you go to the OR supply site and convert it basically into a liquid token. So store, and then using that, I'm over on OmniPair because I quite like what they were sort of, they're up and coming and wanted to give it a shot. So just been playing around with that. I mean, they don't have a whole lot of liquidity on their side thing, but again, that's like with store, right? That's not exactly like providing liquidity. I'm not like a liquidity provider. I don't do that. I've just been like looping and borrowing. So, but it's cool. Like, you get a lot of things to play with, which is great. So,
yeah, oh, you're looping. So you're leveraging your OR through OmniPair.
Yeah. So you take your store and then you like borrow against it, and then you buy back the store, and then you can keep doing that because you basically are growing your. I mean, you got to be a bit careful. I take it really slow. To be honest, I just asked Grok like, hey, what's the best way to sort of do this, and stay safe for now? Because yeah, there's not a lot of liquidity in those tokens, so you just got to be a bit careful because the slippage can be quite high. So
not a lot of liquidity yet. We're coming.
Yeah. No, I mean, they've only been out for a little bit, right? So, or at least with the store USDC. Yeah. No,
I'm looking at OmniPair.
Fun to play around, man. Like the more integration that OR and store and you can get out there, the better. One thing I just want to bring up, because this is like always a point of contention in the Discord, which is like the rinsers, which for me like isn't really an issue. Like I don't see it as an issue. I quite like the fact that you get like a high APR out of the people who are just like churning. Like that's attractive to me. That's actually like one of the reasons I was mining. It's like, holy shit, like look at the APR on this. Yeah, like I mean, you sort of have to get in when you feel like prices sort of bottomed out. And if you can do that while people are churning, then like it's just upside from there. So I mean, we're sort of still there. Like price is still quite low compared to where it's been, but I feel like we're really actually building quite a solid bottom. Like this is it's a nice floor to sort of come in on.
Yeah, that was a good couple months of churn there because we had all those sellers feeding back into the UOR even the UOR holders. So you're right, it does develop a good bottom because there are holders. Now, again, the churn thing, I get it too. There's churn in Bitcoin, right? There's miners selling Bitcoin to stay profitable, and there's always somebody, buying and selling on that market. Or it's not going to be any different. There's going to be short-term thinkers that are trying to, max extract for themselves, which is fine. They're going to mine when it's cheap. They're going to stop when it's not profitable. Same as Bitcoin, same as any other mining mechanism, right? And except on exit, they benefit everyone else. So it is a great point, and that's a great point we need to bring up as a community to everyone else there. Yeah, there's going to be some miners that mine and sell for profit, just like any other mining ecosystem, but you get part of their profit just sitting there in the mines, right? So rewarding long-term thinking is a key pillar of OR. And that's what I try to communicate to on my X, that we're VC free, fair, but I definitely could hit that more. Long-term store value is fantastic. And why is it going to be a long-term store value? Because the mechanisms are in place to reward you for holding in multiple ways. I've got I bought the bulk of my ore just on the open market. I don't have as much ore, which is unfortunate, but I still mine to this day. I use mine more, and I use the main ore.supply. But hats off to the people who have 40 or 100 ore. Those guys are hosses, and just think of how much they're absorbing from the churners. So you make a great point. Churn, the Fenny issue, whoever Fenny is, and so forth. We just have to keep mining to make sure that their space on the grid is less than everyone else's, and we will be absolutely fine. And we're going to benefit from them churning. So good point. And then the liquidity too. If you're an LP provider, they're selling. They're swapping. They're doing whatever. If you have a portion of your portfolio in liquidity, then take from them there too. Take their swap fees, right? So, I agree with you. It's not as big a deal as everybody makes it. Just revel in the fact that you're getting their taxes and sit in ore. That's it.
I don't see it as a bad thing at all. In fact, I quite see it as a positive, man. I don't know. For me, it's like it just seems like we found like a point, like somewhere around like 32, 33, 34, $35, like where the miners and the churners were sort of like, that was it, right? Like that was going to be where we stopped. There, there wasn't enough churning and there wasn't enough mining. It just sort of found an equilibrium, and that's you build off that, right? Like, and then people are like, oh, it's not going down anymore, and as more people come on, right, then you get more miners. And the thing about like the Fennies is that, okay, say you have more automated bots, it just gets more competitive for them, and their margin is going to get smaller and smaller. So they're not actually going to be as profitable as more of them come on board. Like, I just don't, because they're going to eat into each other's profit. So, I mean, I don't know. I feel like it's like a ratchet, right? Like people are just going to come on, keep coming on. Yeah. And you're going to keep building that floor, and you're going to have churners, and you're going to have, if you get more like automated churners, then they just like start to lose a little bit to each other. And as long as you're sort of like consistently bringing on miners, and this is the thing why it's like quite a long-term, you have to have like a long-term viewpoint, right? Like you have to think of it as like Bitcoin, right? Like you have to have that vision that you're going to be around in 10 years. I know this isn't like a very Solana thing to do, considering the hold times are like what, 3 seconds now or 5 seconds, whatever it is.
Yeah. Oof.
But really, like, in the end, if you're getting in early-ish, like I still feel like this is incredibly early, like you're going to be fine if you can just sit on some. So I don't know.
Think of Solana in the next 5 years, right? It's going to be around. It's going to be around for 10 years. It's the place to go. It's getting bigger. It's maintaining its market share. It's maintaining its presence. Hopefully that grows. We're not having an L2 fracture problem. We're not spreading out our liquidity all over 500 layer twos. And then OR is becoming the entrenched store value, which has been supported by the leadership of Solana. They may hold some. They've talked with HHC, and they want a diverse ecosystem of products. So this is going to be one of those diverse ecosystems. The Solana guys don't want to be known as the meme chain. Yeah, pump funds fun if you like losing money. That's great. I'm glad Pump Fun is what it is, and I'm glad it attracts the clientele it does to Solana, because business is business, and no business is not good. Some business is good. So it's making chain fees. It's making some people rich and a lot more people poor. Okay, but that's beside the point. They don't want to know to be known for being the meme chain, right? We need our Solana. We need OR. We need Helios. We need good DeFi. I would say Drift, but that was trash with their multi-sig. That was total trash move. that they let themselves be what, a 1 of 5 or 2 of 5 multi-sig. I don't even remember now. It's just, you know, I think people don't realize that when you're investing, attack surface also matters. And Or's attack surface and HHC's dedication to ensure that things are locked down, especially in light of drift. He came out and said something along the lines of that we're going to lock the staking contract and make it more secure, et cetera, et cetera. All that should play into your investment, because it's hard to sleep at night in this space, knowing that you could be, through no fault of your own, drained of your entire portfolio because of some hack somewhere or some manipulation, or North Korea, North Koreaing your devs, right? So HHC being the primary dev with a marketer with a very simple product is a major selling point of OR, right? The attack surface is so small compared to something like a PerpDex. And trust me, man, if you knew what was happening on even just a middle of the road PerpDex, like I used to work for a PerpDex, man, it's disgusting. Like, North Korea is definitely there trying to manipulate the product. The devs are playing chess on a chessboard, trying to stop the manipulators, not just North Korea. They're trying to stop any market manipulator across any of the markets. Oil. We've even seen Bitcoin manipulated on multiple wallets just to try on a Sunday afternoon to long or short on multiple exchanges, including our PerpDex, right? So it's a bigger problem than people realize. So attack surface being smaller, like OR, being a simple product with large, broad mass appeal, is something definitely to think about when you're investing. I don't. Have you thought about the attack surface of OR and what that looks like versus other products? Does it make you sleep comfy at night knowing OR is so simple? It does to me. I don't know if you look at that yourself, but I think about that all the time since working for a PerpDex.
For me, it, you know, since this drift exploit, what I like about OR is seeing, you know, Hard Hat Chad being so proactive. So that brings me comfort, you know, like I know that he's actually trying to do the right thing, and he always sort of has from the beginning. So like the ethos of like OR and where it's been, where it comes from, and like the people behind it, that lets me sleep good at night. You know, like a lot of times you don't know who that, like, you know, you look at these memes, you look at whatever, right? Like you don't know who the hell anybody is. You got like influencers, like, you know, talking it up, and the fact that like sort of nobody really talks about it, that's big, is like, actually to me that's the most bullish thing. And if Oregon just like stick around, you know, and like keep sort of growing, man, I don't expect it to like moon like tomorrow, you know. I'm not looking for that. Like, I'm sure it's got that potential just because the supply is so tight that, like, you know, you got to be on your toes with it. But if you're just looking to hold, man, you know, just hold. Like, I think you listen to like people who've invested in Bitcoin, and yeah, they've tried to like time the tops and, you know, time the bottoms, and, you know, with some success, but they say overall they would have been better off just holding through it all. So
yeah, I saw a post the other day. Some guy's been trading on the ETH side for years, and his wife just bought on Coinbase like $100 every month, and she had outperformed him, right? So, you know, and she's only buying ETH and BTC, outperformed someone who thought they had a well thought out crypto portfolio over the last 5 years. His wife outperformed him. So yeah, it does go, you know, if you have conviction in something that you know has great mechanisms for growth, like OR, yeah, just hold it. Don't try to day trade it. Don't try to do anything silly. Just stake it and sit. Sit happy. So I agree with you there. Hold it for a few years. My best wins in this space have been multi-year holds. I have never had I mean, I've had a few short wins. Like a few weeks ago, I made 7,000 off $700 with something, but that's very, very few and far between. And that wasn't even a meme; it was another unique, novel product in the space. And now it crashed. You know, it's gone. So
yeah,
you know that the space rewarding short term plays is fine, but Solana especially needs to mature a little bit and play with your memes, guys. Yeah, if you're a memer out there, play with your memes. Have fun. Have fun losing money. Most of you will. It's everybody's always chasing that one guy that they want to be that guy that turns $100 into 45 million. Statistically or not, you've got VCs, you've got bundled wallets, you've got people mining you. You're the mine. You're the financial mine for the meme coin devs in most cases. They are max extract, teamwork, working with their KOLs and influencers. You see, there's no KOLs speaking about OR because we don't pay KOLs to speak about OR. They're not happening because we're not paying them. That's how corrupt the industry is. If you want to get in with a KOL, they need a financial incentive, right? It's no longer about filios or friendship, I guess you could say, and just the working together. It's like, hey, what can you do for me? I'm on X. I got 1 million followers. How much can you pay me? How much can you give me? VCs will message the devs and say, hey, let's talk about some OTC and getting you out there on our platform, right? I definitely think the right thing for Ord to do is not to speak with these people and to let the mechanism ratchet up, like you said, ratchet up the UOR, the staking, and let more and more people that are holding long-term enter that ratchet and just keep climbing, because ultimately the price is going to speak louder than any KOL can speak. And when that does, when OR starts to hit 100, 200, everybody in the crypto community is going to notice, man, what's going on here? They'll come to the Discord and perhaps do their own investigation and see what OR is, why it's pumping, what's going on here. And I think they'll like what they see. But yeah, that's one thing we'll have to get over, right? There's just not a lot of KOLs talking about us because we don't pay them, honest truth. And also, exchanges have to buy us on the open market to list. So they want to see volume, and that's when they'll list something free of charge, right? That's when they'll do it. Otherwise, you have to pay them too. Even Chainlink wants their pound of flesh for integrating oracles. I could tell you, I'm not going to tell you right now, but they want a pretty good sum of your tokens to integrate you into some of their oracles, right? So this space is full of those kind of people, and OR needs to maintain that focus on not making it easy for them. Make them work it. If they want it, mine it. And one of the best things I saw, right? My old product, I'm not going to name it, but we actually had Binance buy us on the open market and pump us from $7 or so to 12, right? And we saw it. We saw money inflows going into Binance associated wallets. And what the last product I did never sold to Binance. We never gave them an OTC deal. Every single person that came into our Telegram, we said, buy it on the open market if you want some. And there were many VCs that tried to get deals, right? Ultimately, when that happens, OR's made it. When Binance and Coinbase, and it's already on Coinbase through the Jupiter exchange program, but when another DEX has to be forced to buy it on the open market, you won. And the price is going to go nuts. I promise you. If they accumulate enough to have volume on their platform, the price for OR will go nuts. So I think we maintain the status quo. We maintain the focus. No VCs. Buy it on the open market. If you want it, mine it. And that's the only way to do it. And that itself will get us noticed one day. So, it's big deal. We don't want that type of VC activity.
Yeah. A couple things. So, yeah, all very valid, and it really gives OR sort of like a really good foundation. I think that's super important that it stayed true to itself and hasn't sort of like tried to go the get rich quick scheme way of doing things. I think so. If you think about Solana, right? So kind of came out, then NFTs hit, right? NFTs were like, you're flipping them. Yeah, you're maybe holding for a little bit, but especially in the beginning when things were first starting, you could sort of hold for a bit, but as time went on, man, people were just flipping them quicker and quicker. So again, and the projects got more sophisticated in terms of how they were trying to extract from you, So this idea of like extraction got more sophisticated, and that sort of like once NFTs died, right? Then you went into memes, which was like max extract, right? Like, so it's just, and that's like where Solana's come from. Like that's like its baby phase, right? So I think as it matures and you start to see products come online that are a little bit more sophisticated, you're gonna have more sophisticated buyers, sophisticated investors who sort of understand the marketplace a little bit more. Like their risk isn't quite as degen as like, you know, meme coins, and they're gonna be looking for things that have that long-term outlook. You know, no big fund or wealthy investor, for the most part, is going to look at meme coin and decide that's a good investment choice for the next 10, 15 years, right? So I think as the Solana ecosystem matures and the investors mature along with it, or is going to just be a staple. I think it's going to be one of these things where people are just going to have it because it's been there. It's going to be the store of value. And yeah, I truly believe that. So, and I think, you know what else though, this is the other thing. It gives people a great opportunity to enter, because this isn't something that happens overnight. This takes time. So really, man, you know, OR is just like a godsend for people who are like looking for a long-term investment. This is, you've got opportunity here, and it's probably going to stay, you know, this way for a bit, unless we somehow magically enter a bull run all of a sudden. I mean, things are looking good, but you know,
yeah, I could see Bitcoin going back down.
Surprised to see another dip, you know. So we might dip down, we might bring it back, we might test some lows again. You know, that's definitely always a possibility, isn't it, when these things happen? So
yeah, you just got to maintain calmness.
If you look traditionally, yeah, I mean, you look at the timeline of things. You know, generally you have like a bit of a run up, and then we'll dip down. Then it's going to form a nice, like, solid bottom, and whatever Bitcoin does, man, the rest of the market does. So you sort of can't expect OR to sort of outperform until we do sort of see, you know, like either some sort of crazy alt season for some reason. I mean, there's just no real catalyst right now. Yeah, it's good to see that we're not sort of like dipping lower with all the shit going on in the world, but at the same time, there's not really anything that's signaling that we're going to be exiting where we're at. So yeah, good entry for people, man. I think, you know, it's boring. It's absolutely boring, right? Like it doesn't feel like you're making good decisions. And that actually, for me, like, because I've been here a number of times, you know, that actually makes me feel good that I'm buying now. Like, you know, I don't want to be buying when I'm like super hyper and telling my wife how much money we have. That's when I should be selling, you know? So I've learned so many times that, you know, every time I'm like, oh, you know, you seen like how much this is worth now? Like,
yeah, that's
every time I open my mouth, like, yeah, every time it's like guaranteed, man. So, and I think I'm sure I'm not alone.
Yeah, it's a dangerous game telling your wife about your crypto portfolio. It's a dangerous game.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
It's going good. It's going good, honey. It's great.
Too late. Yeah, no.
Keep it very unspecific. But
it's too late. She tends not to ask, but you know, she does every once in a while wonder where all the money goes, you know.
Yeah, well, the money's going to explode. Then it's going to explode the other way.
Turn it around one of these days.
Yeah, absolutely. And we will. The OR is the great vehicle for turning around. The OR is the you'll tell your wife, yeah, I sold a little bit of OR. We took some profit. Let's go on a little trip, honey. But then you greedily keep most of it in the mines and don't tell her about the rest of it. Yeah, good points. You know, the whole space is going to go through this phase. It's going to be, as you said, boring. And that's the time to buy. I've had the same experience, right? When everything seemed down in the dumps and everybody thought we're just going to zero, I bought my last big win. And then, 6 months later, we're getting listed on Binance. So, and I sold some. That's what it takes. Mine and take it away from, because there's going to be guys with big bags too, right? Let's say our liquidity stays really good. We have, or let's say we get to $1 million in liquidity.
Yeah.
There's going to be guys that say, oh, look at this run up. Yeah. They're going to outbid you like crazy. They're going to jump in with, $50, $60, $70, $80,000 and jump in, or they're going to ride it for short term, right? We got to be understanding these people are going to come no matter what coin you're in. They're going to ride hard and dump, right? But what's going to turn the chart around, of course, is instead of hoping that they buy just plain old ore, we want them to get the mines, right? We want them to see the motherlode, the El Dorado, and tell them, hey, look, you know, you could buy, but if you mine, you'll get this 80% APY and you can sell it any time. Let those guys be the churn you were talking about. Let them hit the mines with 20 soul deploys, chasing the mother loads, because those guys are out there, right? I've seen people put 80,000 on the line behind the scenes on my last PerpDex and lose it all with a 100x degen gamble. So look, you're not going to lose all your money. You're going to get some back in the mines. So this is a better value proposition. Plus, you get to hold some ore. Why not do it here instead of on a PerpDex where you're going to lose everything? Or if you have cross margin, you're going to lose everything and then some more. This is a better platform because you're going to actually get to hold something. So I'd love to see those guys enter the mines. But again, there's going to be some of those guys are going to be in and out by just buying plain old ore on the open market. So take that chance away. Make it really expensive for them, guys, by accumulating ore, by staking your ore. Don't let them get in cheap, right? I'd rather they get in at the top and become our exit liquidity, and then we're back in the mines. Let's say ore pumps to 1,000. I sell some of my regular old ore. I'm going to put it right back to work in the mines, right? I'm going to sell it for Solana and go back into the mines and accumulate unrefined ore because I need a bigger ore bag for the long term. I don't have as big as bag of ore as some people that have been mining for years, like maybe yourself or other guests that have been here since the first version of ore. I really need to fix that. So if we pump, there's going to be the churn. There's going to be the big guys coming in. Don't let them in cheap. Don't make them pay for it. And then I'm going to put it back in the mines so I can get more ore. But ore is not going anywhere. I'm not going to sell it. It's going to sit in my wallet, just accumulating, because if you believe in the store value, yeah, it's what you want to hold.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to onboard a lot of people, this is like, it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to be a slow thing, and I think the longer we can sit at sort of these prices, the better. I think you're going to get people in, and you're going to get, brings me back to like the sophisticated investors. It's like, you can have people who sort of like look at it, study it, understand like production cost and when they can be mining and when they should be buying on the market and all these things. That's attractive. Like that's cool. So I think it gives people a lot of opportunity, and if we can get them in now, the longer we sort of sit down here, the longer they'll probably stay with us. So I think that's what you want. You just want to grow that user base. And I think this is the time to do it. You don't want people all piling in at the top, right? Like it'll happen, but
yeah,
it's not really what you want, because then they just get dumped on
and they get pissed. Yeah, so, they just come back to the Discord and ask so many questions.
Right? Bitcoin does the same thing, right? Like people come in at the top, and they get dumped on, but like it's always come back, right? And I just feel like that's going to happen. So like, Bitcoin has that reputation of being there no matter what. Like, it's going to dump, but you also know it's going to come back and probably go higher.
Yeah, stronger.
So we just need to get to that point. There's a few. I just feel like ore needs to go through a couple of cycles. Like, yeah, we've seen some pumps, we've seen some dumps, but that's just part of it's just how it goes. A lot of speculation on Solana, a lot of that. So it's not surprising.
Yeah. Was ore here for the last full cycle, like the last Bitcoin run up? It was as a former version of itself, right? Because it used to be actually block-based mining or something weird like that, and then it turned into the grid system. So it was probably a little too early for it to catch on at that point, to catch any major runs. I see it had a jump at the beginning, followed by a second wave and peak where we retain value, right? We went from you bought in $11. You went through the crazy vacation where you saw ore go up to $700 and left your ledger at home, but it crashed down to what, at worst, 35. So you came in from $11 to 35 as a base, and now it's pumping back up beyond that. So you must be a pretty happy miner, because the long-term thesis is playing out.
I was mining at like $60. I think I was mining at $80. I think I've been mining at $30. So like, you know, I've just sort of been mining. I'm like right now, I'm like just like break even, which is fine with me. I'm at, you know, that's great. I think this, like I said, this is the price point, man. This is like the time to enter is like now. And I hope we sort of stay here for a while, because I think the longer we can sit and just maintain, the better off it'll be. To be honest, I know people want the price to pump, but I just think for the long term, that's, you know, you want that steady gain. You know, you don't want to go crazy and then people, yeah, you just want to ratchet it up, man. Just keep it going. So yeah, happy days. I think things are looking good. And El Dorado, man, I feel like that's going to bring a ton of people on. You know, I think that's going to be a big game changer when that comes out. So really looking forward to seeing what happens when that comes online.
As am I. I'm interested to see where that value goes, because, you know, one guy, or I'm not sure if it's just one tile or one guy. I'm not 100% up to date on that, but let's say it launches and one tile wins the El Dorado, right? Yeah, there's going to be some people that sell, but that's the churn you were talking about. That's the ratchet up. Keep your unrefined ore, let them churn the whole El Dorado, spike the volumes, have some LP, have some liquidity pool ore, right? Make them pay you the ore, make them pay you the liquidity pool swap fees, and just take advantage of the sellers, right? Because that's what UOR does. So, you know, for me, yeah, OmniPair looks like a good route to do that. So I might put some in OmniPair, just a small portion, right? I don't want to put it large because you have to deal with ranges and it's a complex topic, liquidity. But yeah, these guys in El Dorado, hopefully El Dorado hits as UOR as well. So they get that big old tax that they have to pay, but that's going to spike some holders. It's going to make some rich people for sure if they hold and not just dump and churn. But if they do, I've got the catcher's mitt. I'm going to catch that 10% tax, and I'm going to catch some of those LP swap fees that they're doing. It's coming back to us as a community. So El Dorado, I welcome you, El Dorado. I think it should be named something else, but we won't go into that here. There's so much we can do with that. So much we can do with that.
It's pretty catchy.
And NSFW. But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to V4. Any speculation on V4? What do you think? What do you think HHC is saying when he says redefine mining yet again? Like what?
I have no clue.
Yeah,
no idea what he's talking about.
You know, I mean, it's the team, Starship. I've specifically pestered Starship to tell me more, and he won't.
Yeah,
or.
He won't.
I even use or. Tell me or, but he won't. Just greedy with his information. Super greedy. I can't even just. Okay. No. Anyway, well,
very tight ship.
It is a tight ship.
What, they don't let anything slip. So that's good.
Yeah,
and I think again that's like quite positive.
Yeah, we don't want Godel supply V2 hitting. That's just they're just shameful at this point. And you know, fine, take other products, mine them. That's great, but don't claim you're better than the OG, because you're not. The OGs, you know, copycats. I think as the last little topic we hear the last 5 minutes. You know, copycats of protocols, in my experience, fail because they don't have the experience to make it from scratch. They don't have the skills to make it from scratch. PerpDexes are a perfect example. There were many forks of the last PerpDex I worked for, and they're all dead. Most of them are dead. There's only one left. You know why? Because when they fork something that's got vision or complexity, they can't fork the founder, right, with the vision. They can't fork the devs. They can fork the code, but can they maintain it? Can they go in reasonable and responsible directions with the code? Oftentimes they couldn't, and they would be manipulated, hacked, or completely destroyed by their own failure to monitor, maintain, and update the product properly. So that's forks of products are not the biggest worry to me. You know, meme coins a little different. Yeah, meme coins will copy each other, name only, and one will run and so forth. But actual products with code behind them, forks don't seem to last very long. And I think it's because of what I just said. They lack many elements that made the actual product itself a success in the first place. So
yeah, well, if you don't differentiate yourself enough, it's not you're not going to steal the user base that started the original product. Like you look at Bitcoin, right? And with Litecoin or whatever, you know, there's been other coins that have come out trying to be Bitcoin, right? And they basically just replicated what Bitcoin was, but changed a little bit. And it's just not, you know, no one's, I think that's, or has got enough differentiation that it can separate itself as a different store of value. So I think that's another reason why I really like it. It's just, it's so different.
Yeah.
And it's just easy. Like it's so much easier for people, you know, you don't need a big mining setup. You don't need like, I don't know. There's not energy bills. I don't have to heat my house with it. You know,
you don't have to buy
like
some gimmicky space heater for your home that mines Bitcoin. Those exist, man. It's just wild. It's a wild space. There's whole house heaters. There's wall art that mines Bitcoin for you, and I'm not making this up. It exists, and it's ridiculous. So, you know,
it's cool. It's cool, but like, you know, is it going to be my investment thesis? No.
Yeah.
You know,
it's not even a part. It's not even a spec.
It's like your scratch it ticket.
Yeah, I agree. So OR's the investment thesis for me. I hold some Bitcoin and I hold some OR, much more OR than Bitcoin. So, you know, like I said in a recent post, OR checks all the boxes. Fair distributed, scarce, and a novel.
I mean, I pretty much OR is my only hold at this point. I don't even bother, man.
Yeah. Well,
I've seen enough coins come and go. Like I just, can't be bothered.
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
Have one investment thesis, and hold it with conviction.
Good point. Yeah.
Better off doing that.
True. I you know, obviously,
yourself thin.
Obviously, the upside for OR is so much more than what I would hold in Bitcoin. I see Bitcoin as a savings account at this point, not necessarily going to make me wealthy. I see OR make us wealthy, all of us in the mines. All right. Well, we've hit an hour, Mr. Diggy. This is a wonderful speaking with you, and I appreciate you coming on
thanks,
with
David.
the Mine More team.
Really, really great. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Well, guys, I thank you all for coming. And any future listeners, these occur bi-weekly on Mine More. So be sure to follow them on X, and we'll have more guests, more people from the ecosystem sharing their thoughts about OR and the greater Solana ecosystem. Because we always have some great points that we hear every week, every other week. And of course, the official OR Miner Side chat as well, which I also host. And Starship Funk, a listener here, he's there too. You can hear us. You can hear about OR every week practically if you want to. So be sure to tune into that too. Well, I thank you for the hosts at Mine More for bringing us up, and thank you guys for any future listeners.
Okay, thanks guys.
Thanks,
Rob. Thank you.
Y'all have a good one.
Thanks all. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Enjoy it.
See ya.
Okay, bye-bye.